That'll get your attention. All righty. Good afternoon and welcome. I am Saundra Ardrey, your moderator. And on behalf of the Jonesville Reconciliation Work Group, it is with great pleasure that we welcome you to What Happened to Jonesville, exhibit and reception. We are honoring Jonesville, our people, our community, our legacy. The history of our community and land gives us the opportunity to recognize, respect, and appreciate our place within that history. Western Kentucky University honors and acknowledges the indigenous peoples, land on which this university was built. We also honor and acknowledge the former residents of Jonesville. According to the Jonesville History Project, Jonesville was a predominantly African-American community in Bowling Green, Kentucky, that was demolished in the 1960s to make way for the expansion of the WKU campus. It is that community, Jonesville, that we honor and celebrate today. Many from the community are joining us for the celebration. We welcome WKU Board of Regents, Dr. Philip Bell and wife, Kristen. Board of Regents, Shane Spiller. Cole Bornfeld. Doris Thomas. And representing Regent George Nichols are C.J. Nichols and his sister, Phyllis Carr. Public officials with us are County Sheriff Brett Hightower, Judge Kelly Thompson. Where did the judge go? I saw him. He's coming. Did I see Police Chief Michael Delaney? Is he here? Okay, on his way, taking care of crime, I'm sure. We also have Warren County Judge Executive Mike Buchanan, City Commissioners Carlos Bailey, and City Commissioner Dana Beasley Brown. We also have with us Kentucky State Representative Patty Minter. Thank you. Well, did I miss anybody? Good. Thank you for joining the celebration, and thank all of you for coming. Like so many universities across the nation, President Caboni established the Presidential Task Force on Naming and Symbols in the fall of 2020 to conduct a thorough examination of the history of WKU's namings, explore options for how we might address those that might be problematic, and make recommendations for university leadership to consider. One of the recommendations of the task force was to begin to reconcile with the Jonesville community. The Jonesville Reconciliation Work Group was established. This exhibit is our inaugural event, the first of many activities that will recognize the achievements and contributions of the Jonesville community. While this is a celebration of the Jonesville community, it is also an emotional and disturbing remembrance for many in the Black community. Western Kentucky University wants to be a part of the healing process. Did you notice that some guests are wearing a white rose with black and red ribbons? Did you notice those folks? These are the residents and descendants of Jonesville. The white rose symbolizes a new start and fresh beginnings. This is indeed a new beginning to bridge the divide between the university and the African American community. We are a part of the healing process. Spend some time with these residents and listen to their stories. Dr. Caboni.
Thank you, Dr. Ardrey, and thanks again to everyone who's with us this evening. Thank you for joining us to honor the people, the community, and perhaps most importantly, the legacy of Jonesville. Founded by freed enslaved Africans in 1881, shortly after the Civil War, the Jonesville community thrived here in Bowling Green for more than 80 years. This remarkable neighborhood encompassed areas of WKU's present campus, including the locations where Diddle Arena, Houchin L.T. Smith Stadium, the Downing Student Union, and Bates Runner Hall stand today. And it served as an extraordinary example of Southern Black culture. However, the Jonesville community experienced an unfortunate ending in the late 1960s, when it was dismantled to make way for expansion occurring at WKU. This destruction resulted in the displacement of all those who built this community and all those who called it home. So today, 6 decades later, we join together as a WKU community for the first of what will be many occasions to pay tribute to Jonesville's rich history, to celebrate the achievement and the resilience of its residents. And this is important work for our institution, because we continue our efforts at WKU to uncover and to illuminate our institutional history. And to do so, we must acknowledge the destruction of Jonesville. But perhaps more importantly, we must bring together our community and former residents and their descendants. We must hear their stories, and we must tell their stories, not just within the WKU community, but we must tell their stories more broadly throughout Bowling Green, throughout Warren County, and beyond. So to begin those efforts, during the spring of 2022, I established the Jonesville Reconciliation Work Group, comprised of WKU faculty and staff, alumni, descendants of Jonesville, and individuals from across Bowling Green and Warren County. This group accepted a significant charge to assess the best ways to honor Jonesville and to establish authentic movement toward reconciliation with its descendants. And now, just a few months later, we're already seeing the fruits of their work. The production of the exhibit and reception we enjoy today required the collaboration of many. And I'd like to thank first the Jonesville Reconciliation Work Group for their efforts. Secondly, Jonesville residents and descendants, thank you for being here. Thank you for receiving this olive branch. The Kentucky Museum Director Brent Bjorkman, thank you for your work to lead the inquiry around the effort. The African American Museum of Bowling Green, also for its support, the Kentucky Arts Council, for their inquiry, the Kentucky Folklife Program, and perhaps most importantly, the Jonesville Community Scholars who created this exhibit from their interview work, including Watheda Buford, Dr. Ann Farrell, Ms. Alice Gatewood Waddell, Ms. Maxine Ray, Alonzo Webb, Lamont Perley, Dr. John Conley, and David Greer. On behalf of all of those at WKU, thank you. Thank you for your research. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your dedicated work to lead our institution, and most importantly, in remembering and in honoring Jonesville. I look forward to many more events of this nature in the years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Caboni. Thank you all. Welcome you again here this afternoon. As been chaired by President Caboni, today's event is focused on honoring the residents and the descendants of the Jonesville neighborhood. The current exhibit in the community gallery, entitled What Happened to Jonesville, is something I would like to share more about and how it came into being through the intimate community research led by our community scholars team. A little bit of background. In the summer of 2021, we were lucky enough to bring two special artists, WKU's Mike Nichols and Alice Gatewood Waddell, who along with three WKU students, Iesha Salifu, Cecilia Morris, and Riley Olon, created the new lobby fresco mural that highlighted in vibrant colors and strong motifs many visual aspects of the Jonesville community. Building on the energy, the artists and I began to learn more from Alice about her experience as a descendant of the Jonesville community and its importance to her life. Then talk turned to how we further tell the story through the eyes of those who both hold the neighborhood dear, both those who actually live there, and also for those connected to the community, those members whose family stories have a special place and deep roots in their lives. So what came to mind in an instant was to offer a community scholars training program locally in Bowling Green to create an exhibit to be driven by the narratives of Jonesville. We then enlisted folklorist Maxine Ray and former community scholar Waddell Buford to begin to assemble the new documentation trainee team. The planning for the training began at the end of 2021. So you might want to ask, what is a Community Scholars Program? The Community Scholars Program began 22 years ago when Kentucky Folklife Director Bob Gates had remained and remains a community documentation training series taught by partners today. The Kentucky Folklife Program based here on this campus and the Kentucky Arts Council. Since 2000, there have been over 250 community scholars graduating from all over the Commonwealth. As part of the training process, participants were introduced to documentation techniques, especially oral history techniques, which in this case is what the Jonesville Memory Project and became the driving force of the What Happened to Jonesville exhibit here unveiled today. Students in the program also learn about the ethics of working with communities, of research and archiving techniques, of modes of presentations of their research, and project development. All the things that give folks the power to tell their own stories through validating of community voices. As one of my mentors and former WKU professors, Linwood Montel, was often fond of saying, when talking about the work we do, he would say, what we do as folklorists, and I think by virtue of this work I can safely extrapolate, he would have included the work of community scholars, is to help light a candle to illuminate the lives of the 99.9 repeating the people that are not talked about in the history books. So throughout our summer research project training, the Jonesville Community Scholars interviewed folks both in their homes and in the Kentucky Folklife Program Oral History Lab in our exhibit space. During these documentation visits, they also scanned family photographs, some of them you're seeing today here. They were shared pridefully by our collaborators. And through developing these relationships with these folks, were directed to other community members with Jonesville connections as they furthered their interview work through time. So under the guidance of and mentorship of the Kentucky Folklife Program's Folklife Specialist Joel Chapman and myself, the Kentucky Arts Council's Mark Brown, and Department of Folk Studies and Anthropology's Ann Farrell, and design and production by Tiffany Iselhart here of the exhibit, this group worked to create this exhibit that was community-driven to its core. Although the president already kindly acknowledged them a few minutes ago, I would really like to thank the Community Scholars team by naming them, and you could raise your hand too. I'll do that quickly. Waddell Buford, John Conley, David Greer, Lamont Purley, Maxine Ray, Alice Gatewood Waddell, and Alonzo Webb. There you go. Now you can go. This past spring, a few of this group were asked to become part of President Caboni's Jonesville Reconciliation Work Group. As you heard from the president, this multi-year initiative is to recognize the importance of Jonesville neighborhood and bring the former residents and descendants together to further keep this story alive. I commend you, President, for bringing together this work group, for your financial support of this exhibit, this event today, and for all the unfolding work that we have to come. And stay tuned for further phases of the work group's efforts to be announced soon, and they'll start taking place this spring. The exhibit in this form here will be at the Kentucky Museum into spring semester, at which time we will share this with our partners at the African American Museum once they get settled back into the Erskine House that's coming around. Also, a traveling version of this exhibit, underwritten by our friends at the Kentucky African American Heritage Council in Frankfort, will be unveiling part of this at Kentucky legislative session in the spring. We thank them for their assistance for making this project both a teaching tool that we can share with others around the state, but also available to WKU groups and classes over time in any number of locations. So we're all excited about that. So take a moment following today's presentation to go back to or to view for the first time the exhibit in the museum's community gallery to the left as you walk in. Or if you have some mobility issues or just are tired of standing up, a lot of you are standing, Tiffany has put together a slideshow of the exhibit in the Western Room. So that's the room to the right when you walk in. And you can sit down and enjoy that. But do return in the weeks. An event like this is a wonderful event. It's so good to see everybody and to see each other. But sometimes you don't take the time to really be able to comprehend the entire story. So do come back, bring your loved ones, your friends, if they're the same person. Bring them all and to tell the story and learn the story of Jonesville and help share that further and further like we're trying to do. So I feel like I can speak for our Community Scholars Group, I hope, when I say we are proud to be the documentary team that worked on this oral history-driven exhibit that shares the Jonesville story for all of us to see and experience. So we thank you. I'd like to now bring up Alice Gatewood Waddell to say a few words about the exhibit and her experience.
Brent stole my speech. Sorry. I'd just like to share with you all that I'm very proud to be a part of this project as an artist, as a community scholar, and as a descendant of Jonesville. All three of those things were just came full circle for me, and the opportunity was something that I'll cherish forever. I learned so much doing this project about my own family, just by researching and talking to different members of the family. I never knew my older sister was born in Jonesville. I thought she was born on 2nd Street with the rest of us, but shows you there's always something to learn. Having the opportunity to create the mural was at first a little challenging because I wanted to express several things in what I visioned that I would like to express when I pour my memories of Jonesville into what I wanted the public to see. So what I tried to do was to illustrate the liveliness of the community. Some people described it as blight in newspaper articles, which it was not, at least not through my lens. Some of my happiest days, Sundays, which was kind of traditional for visiting my great-grandparents and my grandparents there. My mother was born there, and those were some good times and some beautiful times in my eyesight. So I wanted to convey that type of vision to others to see, and not when you think about the history to think about blight, property, and poverty and those sort of things. I also wanted to express the sadness and the gloom that was brought due to the destruction of Jonesville. So to combine all of those feelings into one piece of artwork was a challenge, but it was also rewarding. It was a way for me to be a part of what we're celebrating today, and I'm so glad I had that opportunity to do so. I hope that the Jonesville mural will inspire people who see it to want to learn more about the rich history of Jonesville, but more importantly, I hope it inspires us as a society today to do better. There's still things happening all across the country similar to what happened many years ago, and we can do better. So I think today we're off to a good start because everything starts with the truth, acknowledging the truth, and that's where we are today. So I want to thank everybody for being a part of this and for allowing me to have the opportunity to participate as well. And I'd like to see if Maxine Ray, who taught me a lot during this whole process, and she could really name those people in the pictures, and shared a lot of all her research that she's done for years and years with us, and was just a great part of the leadership of our project. Maxine?
My name is Maxine Ray, and I am a graduate of the Folk Studies Department here at Western. I'm also a graduate of the Community Scholars Program. When I started my project of researching my family, and I just wanted to know how we got to Kentucky and the experiences they had on the way here. And I never dreamed that this would go this far, that this would be this big. Never dreamed of it. I was just researching our family history. And that was over 25 years ago when I started my research. And so when they contacted me about sharing some of my pictures and about helping with the community scholars, I was very, very excited about that. We've done over the last year, the last 6 months or whatever of our program, we have been through all kinds of books, looked at all kinds of pictures, tried to get me to name everybody. They think because I'm the oldest that, that I should know everybody. And sometimes my memory is leaving me, so I have begun now to sit down and write the names on the pictures of the people that are in the picture, because I know one day I'll look at that and won't know who anybody is. But I am excited that you all have come out tonight to view the exhibit, and just thank you for coming.
All righty, thank you, Maxine. Will the residents and descendants of Jonesville please stand as you are able? Let me see. All righty, thank you very much. All righty, so have a seat. I'm going to have you stand one more time, but I've got some cards here, and I want to sort of go individually and recognize you so that, folks, we can listen to your stories afterwards. John Alma Barnett. John Alma, there you go. Holly Jackson. Holly Jackson. Akeisha Townsend Eaton. Alice Waddell. Oh, there she is. Fred Taylor. And now the Haneys. Mark Haney. Jennifer Haney. Tevis Haney. Ava Haney. All right, there you go, the Haney family. All righty. But I'm not done. Leonard Bailey. Sabrina Spillman. And, of course, Maxine Ray that we just heard from. So thank you very much. David Bailey, welcome. Did I miss any other descendants or residents? Waddell. Well, I am Waddell. Thank you. Buford, yes. Thank you for coming to your celebration. We recognize and honor your resilience in the face of so many challenges. We look forward to working with you to guide the university in developing truth-telling educational projects focused on the institution of slavery and the legacies of racism in the university's history. So as we close, wasn't the food delicious? All right. A special shout out to our caterers, Soulful Expression. On behalf of the Jonesville workforce, thank you so much for joining us. With many homecoming activities planned for this week, we are so honored and humbled that you recognize the importance of honoring the Jonesville community. A video of the reception will be available on the WKU Jonesville website. Look for more events in the spring semester with a conference that will discuss the richness of the Jonesville community with papers informed by research of the community, creative productions, and other activities. This reception and exhibition would not have been possible without members of the workforce. Please stand. Workforce, are you standing? Well, there you go. All righty. Thank you very much. We've had so much fun, and the fun will continue. And we did it. We did it. You know, and for some of us, this has been 2 years in the making. This has been 2 years in the making. So again, thank you. But special thanks to Dr. Caboni for his leadership in acknowledging the necessity of understanding and telling the story of the past. Thank you very much. Just a couple of announcements. Will the Jonesville guests please stay for a group photo? And also the workforce, we need a group photo. And Clinton, where do you want us? We'll be in the front of the museum. Outside? Oh. All righty. So, anything else? Any other announcements? Any other announcements? All right, you guys have been standing long enough. Good evening. Continue to enjoy the exhibit. Listen to the folks' stories as you go around, the ones with the corsages on. Listen to their stories. Enjoy homecoming, and thanks again for coming. Good night. Thank you very much. Good job. Thank you.